Welcome everyone to another episode of the Warmup. I'm here with the guys. It is me, Boston Chris. We got Kirchella in the building, and we have Kev RL. Say what's up to the people who are chimed in and listening to us this evening, guys. Say what's up.
What's up, fam? Good to have y'all back.
What's up?
Cool. And if this is your first time rocking with us, this is a place where we talk about sports, current events, and everything else in between through the lens of black culture. You can find us here every Tuesday on YouTube, or you can go ahead and catch us on the audio side of things if you would like on your favorite podcast platform. That could be Anchor, that could be Spotify, that can be Apple Podcasts, Deezer, wherever you get your podcast from. That's where we are. And, if you're on that side, man, give us a like, a thumbs up. Hit us for 5 stars on the Apple Podcast. If you're on YouTube, man, give us the thumbs up. Give us a subscribe, like it. And tell a friend to tell a friend. Again, that helps with the algorithms, make us more visible to some newbies, man, who can latch on. And then, there you go, man. We all one big community and famous and growing together. So, that's that on that side. Also on the networking side, we're on the social media platforms. We are on Instagram and on Twitter and on Reddit, Grindhouse NTWK, and we're also on Discord. So again, hit us up on the Discord. We are public name. We're publicly findable. Searchable. And you can look for us. Yeah, you can find us on Grindhouse Network under the name. All those links are in the description, in our bios, and also in our descriptions of the video. So check those out as well if you need a little bit of guidance. Anything else?
Check.
Cool. Awesome. All right, well, we are in here. We're in the building. Unlike some teams, they just got escorted gracefully.
Would you call that a graceful escort?
Well, you know what?
We'll have to have a debate on the definition of graceful.
Well, it wasn't a blowout. Let's just say it like that. So
yeah, it was a fight.
Some people tried. I can tell you that much. The Boston Celtics tried harder and gave more effort from the coaching staff all the way down, and they went ahead and removed the Brooklyn Nets from participation from the NBA playoffs. This is the only team that has been swept this whole playoffs, and I mean, come on, this is the most exciting, at least predicted, most exciting matchup with the 2 and 7 seed being the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving against Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum, and other one, Jaylen Brown. And I mean, just, again, all that history there. Boston Celtics been here multiple times, rising stars. They're young. Kyrie Irving was over there, so they're going to have some old blood that they're going to have to, revisit. A lot of, FUs, figuratively speaking, and probably literally and more verbose from the Boston Celtics side of things. And so, yeah, we saw a lot of that. We saw a lot of that nasty energy. But we didn't see it on the court. I mean, we saw maybe one game where Kyrie kind of had a decent game. But, I mean, we just saw basically Boston just dismantled, took their heart away from Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they walked into the game 4, they just didn't even know it was game 4. It's like, man, let's get this thing over with so I can go home. I don't want to be here no more. So there's just a lot to unpack here. We got a lot of criticism from, top down, Steve Nash, all the way down to Kyrie's, availability and his religion and COVID stance and things like that. His just lethargy. Ben Simmons, looking very colorful in his outfits. And, of course, finally KD, man, just getting stifled and just looking like a human, empty shell of himself. So we just gonna try to break this thing down. This is all we're gonna talk about because it's such big news. So, I mean, let's just start off with you, Kev, man. What is let me just say it this way, or ask it this way: who is to blame? Who is the biggest blame for whatever happened in this postseason? Was it the coaches, the KDs, or Kyrie?
It's a tough one. I don't like to throw around blame like that.
Biggest pie.
But I guess, accountability here and there. It's tough. The first person that comes to mind is KD. He's the most visible. He's on the court. I'm seeing what he's doing or not doing. I'm seeing the turnovers. That pretty much what irritated me the most was the turnovers. The fact that he was just continually doing the same thing over and over, not making an adjustment. For a player of his caliber and his experience, I expected more. But you guys pointed out, coaching. And the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, definitely that had a role to play in it as well. These are great players. These are good pieces. I want to point to the coaching. Can't believe I'm doing that, but I want to point to coaching because these are great players with some great pieces. I feel like they could have put out something better than what we saw, and I'm gonna have to put in the coaches for this one.
Okay, all right. Coachella, hey, wake up, man. I know you're feeling very lethargic. It seems like you're practicing Ramadan right now, but can you just muster up some energy, man? Tell me who.
Dude, I'm here. I don't know what you're talking about. I like these assessments and these conclusions, assumptions you keep jumping to. Assumption, Chris. That's what you like to do, bro. You like to come up with these ideologies in your head, man. But as you and Steve Nash are a lot the same, bro. Nash thought his team was gonna go to the playoffs, and you come up with ideals too, man. I know Kev has virtue, man. He doesn't like to point blame. He likes to look at things as they are, man. I'm not cut from the same cloth Kev is. I don't feel bad about point blame, right? I don't feel bad sitting on my sofa, pointing my finger at Brooklyn, and I got to look at it as people taking shots at KD. KD's still a beast. KD is what he is, man. I'm not going to take a shot at KD. Could he done better? Sure. But he was the centerpiece of the Celtics' defensive efforts. Shut down KD. Stop KD. I'm looking at where Kyrie was. Granted, we look at everything. I forgot who mentioned it. I was listening to. Kyrie missed most of the season, the majority of the season. Trying to come back, going to the playoffs, come back as a part-time player. Then you're finally full-time, and then it's Ramadan, so he has to fast, right? Great for him. Kyrie had the unfortunate situation of having his personal life really affect his professional life in a very unusual circumstance of COVID, right? Where in the normal season, it would just be, he has to deal with this as fast, and he would have played the whole season, and he would not adjust to it. I'm sorry, man. The Nets still had the firepower to at least make this a competitive series. So look at that coaching. I think Nash took some of his ideals from Golden State with the depth lineup and going small ball, and he took it to the Nets. And at a time when the Celtics were making a run with big guard Tatum, big guard Brown, you got the Time Lord Robert Williams back in the paint. You got Tice coming out. You got these giants coming out here. And for whatever reason, Nash thought, I'm going to go smaller. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it works. But the Nets aren't a fast team, man. The Nets aren't a fast team. You're working with the Kyrie that's not in the full tank. Durant's been in playoff mode for since the last quarter of the season, playing 60-something minutes a game, and the game don't even last 60 minutes. But that's what he's been doing. So, it's the coaching, man. There was a lot of ISO ball, a lot of trying to make Durant the point guard and facilitate as well as score, as well as guard.
That was horrible.
Yeah, it's too much. Nash could have put Durant in better situations. He could have instituted more ball movement. He could have played, I don't know if Dragic has limits on how much he can play, but when he's in there, did you notice that the ball whips around?
Yep.
I mean, I think he had a double-double. It was points and assists. And he had 8 boards. Maybe play him more. The lineups, Wes Aldridge, questionable lineups, questionable play calling. A lot of that stuff, man. So, deal with that cards you're dealt. But he didn't play him right. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, I totally agree wholeheartedly. I think both of us, or all three of us, hit the nail on the head. Coaching is, you got to look at it. KD is going to be what he is. He is a bona fide scorer. That's what he does. He doesn't do anything else. He scores. He may play some defense, maybe some rebounds.
He better know.
Well, I'm just saying, this is what he's known for. This is his bread and butter. LeBron is playmaking, making everyone around him better. He can score 30 points a game, but he is predicated on making his team open and knocking down shots. That's, Kevin Durant he's a sniper. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So the thing is this, man. You try to put him in situations, and then this reminds me so much of the Scott Brooks era. Like the offense was stacked. I sit here and watch the offense, and I think I saw maybe one pass, and I'm just like, but that's in like a short shot clock, and they just throw the shot up. After that, you have 3 people watching. Who's supposed to be on offense? 3 people just watching. There's no movement. There's nothing going on. There's a bunch of just tough shots and trying to basically make Kevin Durant will you to win. And that's just not going to cut it, especially with the team that's as good defensively as the Boston Celtics in January 1st. They were going to basically game plan, and they have at least 3 full-time bodies they can put onto Kevin Durant. So it's not like you're gonna tire them out, because they can just be like, all right, next, like line change, whatever. Like we just gonna keep you tired and have fresh bodies and fresh legs to kind of get up under you. So I think it has to be coaching. It has to be coaching. You cannot allow for your main guy who is not a ball handler like that. He can handle the ball, but he's not a ball handler. Come up at the top of the key and try to ISO at the center of the court. That's like everyone has an advantage of crashing on you. It just doesn't make any sense. And forcing him to make a play. That does not make it. I don't know what game plan that was. I don't know what play that's called.
Yeah, he was playing right to the hand. Like he knew the Celtics wanted to stop Durant, but so you're gonna give the ball to Durant, inbound it to him. Hey, bro, dribble it up, start the play, and then finish the play.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. We know Kyrie is not. He's a point guard, but he's a scoring first. Like he's a scorer too. You have 2 scorers.
He's a point guard only by position.
By position and height.
Not by nature. Yeah.
They you know what, they probably should have put Goran in there and just made him facilitate. You have those 2 wing offensive players, but it's just not the offense. Their defense was horrible too. Their rotations were trash. Like I don't know what they're doing. Like they're switching. Why are they switching with Kyrie? Get put on Tice? That doesn't make any sense.
There was a play towards the end of the game. It was getting tight, and they blocked. Curry was in there. It was an inbound pass. I forgot who it was. It was Curry's man. He cut to the goal, caught the ball,
and laid it up.
Dunked it, yeah. And
they got the foul. Did he get the foul?
It was an N1. Ben Gundy made a good point. Somebody, the other person, I forgot who it was, pointed out, it was a size difference. Ben Gundy's like, yeah, sure, but Curry opened up this. It's like he said, there you go, red carpet. You can at least get in his way. Yeah. Exactly.
He wasn't facing him. He wasn't facing up on the guy. And yeah, he was just playing like he was protecting the center of the paint versus the actual lane that the guy was driving down, and it just didn't make any sense. It's just unacceptable. So yeah, I give the most blame to the Nets. If you really want to do the whole LeBron thing, the way that the people treat LeBron, I will give it to Kevin Durant and say he's the one who constructed everyone. Steve Nash, Kyrie, the GM. If he was LeBron, that's what people would be saying. LeBron made the team. Kevin Durant made the team. He signed off on Steve Nash. He signed off on Kyrie. He signed off on DeAndre Jordan at one point. He signed off on Blake Griffin. He signed off on James Harden moving. He signed off on all this stuff. So. Not that I'm gonna blame him, but yeah, just put it in perspective. So yeah, that's
he shares it. All of them share it, especially not all of them, but when I say all of them, I mean KD, Kyrie, and the coach.
Yeah.
Before the season started, we joked a lot about those guys saying we all coaches out here.
You can't do that.
So
when he said that, man,
who was in the huddle? Over. Yeah, but who was in the huddle? But we've seen it on the Boston side work perfectly well, right? We've seen a play where Smart is just man in the huddle. He's saying exactly what we're going to do. The coach is actually just on the sideline just watching. You know what I mean? So we've seen some success with players taking over, knowing the experience and knowing the game and being that leader on the court, but even in the huddle. Did Katie, did Kyrie, did anyone of those guys really stepped up and showed their experience? Help Nash out, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I want to blame all of them for that part of it too, because they came into the season talking about we all coaches out here. Yeah. And none of y'all could make an adjustment. None of y'all.
Yeah.
And I feel you on that point there, man. But it's like still, the Celtics coach, man, he's still, at the end of the day, he's a coach. They're not out here saying, oh, yeah, we're all doing this job. They're offering input, and he respects their input, right? I think when they say, oh, we're all coaches, that shows to me like an instant, I don't want to say disrespect for Nash, but you're not respecting him as a coach. You're saying, oh, we're all doing that. I've never heard that from any other team. Like, yeah, you know, a player might say, I called this, I called it. You're not saying I'm the coach.
True.
You know?
Yeah. So, I don't know. They seem like they need to retool. I just saw a tweet or a reference from Bleacher Report saying that Kyrie wants to run it back. I don't know what that's going to look like. But, I got a question for y'all, man. If y'all were, I don't know, I can't think of the Nets general manager. I think it's something Marks. I think Sean Marks. What would you do with Kyrie? Because I don't think he signed his extension before. I know Durant signed. Would you sign Kyrie for a multi-year extension? Or would you just do him year by year?
I like the year by year.
I could do 1-on-1 team option.
Yeah.
I
pretty much would be a year, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to
a fancy year by year.
Pretty much. Kyrie has already stated, and I think Stephen A. had mentioned this, had already stated that there's more things that are important than basketball, and which it is. I definitely agree.
Right. Yeah.
But I think when people hear that and they don't really see what they would expect out of you as a player of your caliber or whatever, like just show up on the court, like, and just be impactful the way that we expect, then it leads people to kind of like have a doubt. It kind of be like, well, wait, I don't really know if I want to sign up for a part-time player or a person who's just not like engaged when you're at work. So this thing kind of happened with Derrick Rose when he was having that knee issue in Chicago. And he said something like, "Oh, I want to be able to walk my kids to school" or something like that. While he was just sitting out that whole season, the team was waiting for him to come back. They didn't have any timetables. His team wasn't talking to the organization. They don't know what's going on with him, and it was just like this whole like big question mark all season. And you know, again, it just kind of leaves people hanging because we don't know if you're all the way in or all the way out. So. If he wants to be a part-time player, then pay him, you know, on a month-to-month basis. I guess put him on a contract as a contract.
I mean, I think Kendrick kind of came at it hard with this. Like, you know, it was his choice not to play because of the vaccine, which is true. We could argue that the vaccine mandate in New York was very interesting. Yeah. Right. Visiting players can come and play, but we talked about that. And then, you know, of course, he's paying homage, something important to him, Ramadan, right? And it's just like I said before, his personal choices just so happen to affect his professional career this time. And people do doubt his commitment to the game because even without that, I think I saw something where in all the years Kyrie's been in the NBA, there's only been 4 times he played more than 60 games.
Yeah. Either due to
injury, yeah, you're right.
Heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. So now add that to, I know we're gonna get there later, but the Ben Simmons thing, like now you got 2 players on your roster that you don't know if you can depend on. At least you will question it. Now I'm not gonna say you can't depend on it, but you're gonna think about it. It's a thought. Yeah. Can I depend on them for the whole season?
Yep. And we can get right into that because I mean Ben Simmons. I've seen more Ben Simmons wardrobe than him, you know, actually playing any basketball, and that's crazy. So I'm just gonna do something really fun, man. Let's give him a basketball grade for a season grade. Ben Simmons. I mean, we talked about Ben Simmons all year, and none of it been about basketball. So you're gonna grade him.
You want us to grade him on basketball, even though he hasn't played basketball.
Just to see the Ben Simmons season's grade. Whatever you want to interpret that, it could be on the court, off the court, somewhere in the middle, all inclusive. Okay, what grade are you gonna give him?
Why you keep going to me for these things, dude? Man, he's trying to put me to put blame on people.
No,
he's trying to put me
no. You give him an A.
He can't get an A. No, come on. We gotta leave room for the people who do what they gotta do. At the same time, we understand that everyone is in a different place, different times, and when you ask someone to step it up, you're doing it from your perspective. You're not really sure what they have to go through to make that step up. So at the same time, I don't want to come down too hard on him, but man, it's hard to give him a passing grade for this year. It's really hard. So I'm gonna have to stick with like a D or something like that, because it's like he hasn't really done anything to garner any support, and that's been the most problematic thing. Now, you mentioned it many times. He's not trying to control the narrative, and I don't have a problem with that too much, but we still have to take that into consideration that, hey, this is out there. This is what's happening. You said this was a problem, then we moved you, and then now something else becomes a problem, and then you want to play, but then when you see the team is not going to make it far, you don't want to play. That last move probably made it the worst. That last move about saying I'm going to play.
Yeah.
and then say, okay, now I'm not going to play, my back hurt. That probably made it the worst, man. That put the cherry on top for being horrible season for this guy. I don't know who's gonna want to pick him up beyond. What's the next contract for him?
Maybe in 2 or 3 years. I think he signed an extension before he decided he wanted to leave the year before he decided to leave Philadelphia. So he's already got the max contract that he could have gotten at that time.
Yeah. Good luck for the Nets on that one.
Man,
just off of sympathy, man. Off of the sympathy that I know he's not really putting out the best of himself to Gardner, because I don't think anyone's sympathetic to Ben right now. But I'm gonna give him a little bit of sympathy over here.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad you gave him you said a D minus? I mean, you just said a D.
D minus. Kev, I would sign up to take your class any day, bro. You just out here giving grades away.
Hey, it's still a failing grade. You still gotta repeat, man.
Hey, all I gotta do is an extra credit assignment here, a paper here and there. I went from a D to a C.
Exactly.
If he played in the playoffs, I mean, he might have been rocking a C. We might have been like, oh, he tried. He had this problem over in Philly, but he got the move. Oops, back injury, bad timing. But look, you did your rehab, you did your recovery, and now you showed up in the playoffs. But none of that happened. So
no, none of that happened. So, so Kurt, you want me to give some details? I mean, you got all the details, you got all the information, but you want me to spill it for you, or you want to go ahead and tell the people what happened, man? Just kind of the latest Ben Simmons.
I do want to. I want to play in the game real quick, though. I'm not going to give him a letter grade. I'm going to give him a comparison grade. I'm going to give him. In my mind, he gets the Nick Anderson Award. So for the basketball history buffs, right? Remember the Magic, which one of my favorite teams as a kid. The Shaq, Penny, Nick, Dennis Scott. I think Scott Skiles was on there, man. Magic team, right? And they were in the championship game. The championship game. Oh no! All right. Yeah, the championship game against the Houston Rockets. That's when Houston won. One of the two. I don't know if it was the first or the second.
94.
I think it was the first.
Yeah. 94.
Okay. The Magic could have went up when Nick Anderson got fouled, and he missed not one, not two. This dude missed 4 free throws because it was a 2-point shot, got fouled, went to the strike, miss. Somebody got the rebound. I think he got fouled again. Missed the next 2. It was pressure time. It was a close score, pressure time. He missed those free throws. Houston won the game. Houston won the series. So I'm looking at it as, I think Ben choked, man. I think he was out the whole season. I think looking at what he was saying, I think his back was doing okay. Why would you tell a reporter, hey, watch this, dunk it, y'all but 7 feet tall, and then say, I hope you recorded that. right? And then go on the podium to asking you questions. Yeah, game 4? Yeah. Yeah, game 4? Yeah. Then game 4 gets here. Media attention's on you. The team is saying they need you. Pressure starts to build. I think he starts thinking back about that Atlanta Philly series. I think he starts thinking about what Doc and Embiid said in the post-game interviews after they lost that series. I think he's thinking about all the ESPN runs throughout the summer. I think he's thinking about what we said. But maybe it came up. Who knows? I think that came in his head, man. And I think performance anxiety. I think it's either that or Ben just does not love the game of basketball. Which is fine. He duped some people for some money. Ultimate hustler. He's either the biggest choker or the ultimate hustler.
The man, he showed them talent. What? They choose to pay him that money.
He ain't hold a gun to their head, bro.
Wow. So what you're trying to say is he's Benny the Scammer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Benny the Scammer.
Why does it sound like a mafia? It sound like a mafia underboss.
Yeah. So yeah, timeline of events. Yeah. He said he was good. He was showing promise. No back pain. He was showing out. Hey, get this on tape. You know what I mean? Game 4 coming around. You know what? I feel like taking a break. I deserve a vacation. I'm gonna sit out on this. You know, I will compare him. You know, you said I'm gonna do both of y'all. You know, and I'm gonna add a fictional character. You know, just why.
Okay.
Let's go down this road now. Let's hear it.
So, if I'm gonna give him a letter grade, I have to compare him to his peers. Last year, James Harden had one leg, and he one leg his way to 4 or 5 games or 3 games as soon as Kyrie went down with a rolled ankle. He didn't look good, but he was still walking the ball up, pass it all the way down to the block. He get some good passes. I don't know why it was working, but it was working because he was on the court. He wasn't playing no defense, obviously. He doesn't play defense.
No, he can't. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we've seen his peers who are visibly injured show up just to even be on the court, which gives a lot of a big morale boost for a lot of the teams. You know,
shout out to Luka Doncic. Shout out to Luka. Shout out to Embiid. Shout out to Scotty Barnes.
You know, I'm sure Devin Booker's going to be back if they make it out the first round.
Shout out to Chris Paul every playoffs.
Yeah, I know, right? Once it gets to the conference finals, it gets a little shaky for Chris Paul. So for that, I'm gonna have to give him an F because he didn't even try to suit up. Even if he came out,
well, he did that one dunk for that reporter for Nick for Dale. He did that one practice dunk.
So either it was scripted and that was all Photoshop, or the dude is faking. Like, you can't act like you're, you know, get that on tape, blah blah blah, like so boisterous with like some of these antics, and then turn around and just be like, "No, I'm not gonna show up." It's like Draymond talking the way that Draymond talk, and then the playoffs come, and then he like, "Oh no, I got I got ab soreness." Like, no, you ain't got that play because you was out here talking that smack, and you gotta back it up.
I think he was trying to compete with Zion because like the day or two before, Zion put out a video of him doing some 360 dunks. So I guess it was who's not playing this season but can still dunk. I guess that was the competition because I don't know. That's a bad storytelling, right? Totally bad storytelling. If he wanted to put out a certain narrative, that was the worst thing he could have done. Exactly. That was the worst thing he could have done.
He should just stayed the course and said nothing. I think that was his, you know, once you get down that path of saying nothing, you should just not say anything. Unless you're going to say, I'm playing.
He's terrible at this. When he should have, when the consensus was say something to explain your position with the Philly, he said nothing. Yep. And now, you shouldn't say anything because everyone knows the situation. You say you have a bad back. Okay, we accept that. He said something.
Yep. So So if I was gonna go by the grading scale of A through F, he definitely gets an F because we've seen players play with visible injuries, like walking compromises on the court, and they go out there and play. If you're going to compare him to, who did you say? Oh, Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson. You know what? Nick Anderson played.
He did.
I would compare him to Anthony Bennett.
Oh.
You know why? Because Anthony Bennett didn't play. He played a little bit in the preseason. He did a little bit. He took the money and he became Anthony the Scammer. And if you want to chalk it up to a fictional character, Garfield on a Monday, lazy, just like, you know what? I don't feel like doing this. Where's the photo shoot at? I'm gonna go over here and just style. Like, that's all Garfield did. Just lazy. He just sit there, ate, complained, was grumpy, and slept. That's all he did. So all Ben Simmons did was go out there, sit on the sideline. He got dressed up, and he did a couple of these a little bit. That's about it.
Hey, I'm on here, so I don't get fined
and get paid to get paid. So
wait. Since we're doing characters now, he's getting paid for doing nothing. Getting paid for doing nothing. Why does a Kardashian pop in my mind?
They work hard. They're hard.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
they work hard. There's some hard workers there.
They do.
You didn't see that Pepsi commercial?
Hey, it's just hard to be in the spotlight, man.
It is.
Keep feeding the feed.
Okay.
Yeah.
They keep the feed fed.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Well, they're stylish. She's stylish like that.
That's exactly. They got the style on point. So what should, man? Let me ask this, man. What should the Nets do with this Ben Simmons case? Because I mean, this is, to me, it's simple. Maybe it's not so simple to you guys. What should they do? Kurt, what do you think they should do?
Well, I'm interested to hear your take on it because I think they're stuck with him, right? I think you're stuck. The only options you have, find another dummy team that would trade for him to be another Nets, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think his contract is expiring, so I don't see why another team would take him on. You can stretch his contract. You buy him out as expensive. You just got to keep him, man. Keep him, and I think as far as a roster, see if you can find a budget point guard, man. What's DJ Augustine at?
Lakers.
So. All right, that ain't work out. See if you can find like a makeshift point guard, man, somehow. Maybe a couple of vets to team up with Goran, so he doesn't have to take the whole load. So I don't think his body can do it nowadays. But yeah, and with Ben Simmons, keep him, bro. Maybe make him an announcer because I don't think he's gonna get on the court. Who knows next year? Maybe make him an announcer, bro.
That sounds like a lot of work. Okay, what should they do?
Man, the dude is a multi-all-star. Size at the guard position. He can play defense. He can drive, make layups. So you gotta work on his shot. We know what his strengths are. We know what his weaknesses are. Or his less used strengths. Let's call it that. Get him some help. I mean, you stuck with him. I feel what Kurt said. You stuck with him. So I could either be sour about it, or I can make some lemonade, like they say, right? So at the same time, what's that show called? Billions? What's a psychologist in Billions? She a performance psychologist or something like that?
Yes, I love that
performance psychologist, like somebody who could help him with his performance anxiety if that's the problem. With the back issue, that's not a problem. That's what y'all do. Y'all in the sports. Y'all got people for that. So he should be right physically to be back on the court. And if there's anything other than physically, put the right pieces in play. If he's not conforming or working with the system, what can you do? Like, what other than what Chris said, find someone else who's willing to take you. Like, if you keep all that junk secret where no one knows all of the craziness you're going through, which is impossible, then you can sell him off. But at this point, I say make lemonade. Work with what you got. Mm-hmm. Squeeze the best out of him that he can deliver, which is his size, his defense, and work him into the system.
Man, you guys are so positive. At least you are, Kev. Look, I understand his contract is big. It's going to be hard to move. I don't care. There's 29 teams. Someone will be able to give you something. You may not get your return on investment. You may not, you know, it may not be a equal trade in the sense of like getting equal value for Ben Simmons' talents and contracts and all that stuff. Look, the Orlando Magic are looking for somebody. That's enough just to get them some star power to go, for people to go in. They want to see what Ben Simmons does. Like, if he wants to be a circus, why don't he go down to old Disneyland? And I mean, him and Mickey Mouse can make an appearance. And I'm, not to really put the burden on Orlando. I think it's a win-win. They both like one gets an entertainer, like an entertainment piece, and the other people get back some draft picks or like some expiring contracts, or people who they just trying to get off of their books anyway.
But Chris, all right, you're talking about. I just looked it up. I don't mean to cut you off, man. Talking about this dude signed the 5-year max, man, $170 million. He signed it in 2019. He's a free agent. And unrestricted free agent in 2025, bro. It's just, we're just going into 2023 next season. That'd be the 22-23 season. 24-25, then the free agent. So you're talking about 2 years of a team carrying. You're giving up a max contract spot.
Yeah. Look, what is he? What? Okay. Let me ask you this question. What production has Ben Simmons given the Nets?
None, but that's exactly the reason why you gotta push it to next season, because the only reason he hasn't produced in Nets, at least the only reason I can think of, is this back issue. Is there another reason why we know he's not performing? Okay, that's the only thing that we have reported.
Scared.
Reported.
Chris, the question you just asked, you don't think every GM, what did he do for the Nets? What did he do for Philly the last season? No, we're not taking him. Don't you think every team would ask that? Well, I guess not. The Nets took him.
Look, you had to think about it. Portland Trailblazers was willing to trade for Ben Simmons from Philadelphia before he went to Brooklyn. There's a market for him. I mean, I agree. I wouldn't take him, but you know what? Someone will take him. And again, even if you just have to sell low, because you know that like people are going to want to play hardball, and you're gonna be stuck paying that money. And I think it's easier to get him off your books sooner, so you can work with free agency and get you a decent point guard or get you someone in the free agency market. Like if you get some draft picks, great. But like at the end of the day, we've seen what his best is before all of this happened.
Which was not a max contract, but whatever. Okay, we'll pass that.
I agree. However, he has it. So we know that he's a really good defender. He's very athletic. He's a tall point guard. He can pass. He can't make a shot. I mean, he can make a shot in the season. He can't make a shot in the playoffs. So who's not making the playoffs? Orlando. Who's not making the playoffs? Houston Rockets. Like,
I think it's a key point that we're missing, though, that you're missing in your analysis, right? You're looking at, Portland wanted him. He was with Philly. That was when the only thing we knew was that he had some type of mental block with playing with Philly. That was when we knew that. That was before we knew this back situation.
Okay.
Because that was never brought out during the discussions between the Nets and Philly. When he got in the Nets, it was still mental, right? Like, okay, now all of a sudden it's fixed. Then all of a sudden now it's the back. As far as reporting goes, maybe they knew, maybe they didn't. As far as we know, the fans, we didn't know anything about his back.
Yep.
So that's another thing. So now you got to look at it back, pop, maybe a mental thing again, because that's still a narrative. He didn't want to come back in the playoffs. Maybe he's using the back. We don't know. That's a thought thing. So I think that diminishes his value.
It does.
Greatly.
It does on the trade block. I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's why I said you're not going to get your full return on your investment by going on the trade block. But sometimes it's easier just to get it off your books, just so you don't have to worry about that. And then, whatever you get back, that's fine. But then it makes you more flexible in the free agency market because now you don't have, what would you say, $33 million, $35 million?
No, 170 million.
Well, that's in 5 years, but like, what is that? Yeah. So about 35.
Yeah, 35.
Yeah, so $35 million. Yeah, $35 million. You don't have to pay this guy.
Yeah, but keep in mind, teams you have to match. That'd be on the team that he's trading to. They got to send back equal salary, right?
Well, they have to make sure it's under the same salary cap. I don't think it really matters as long as it's under salary cap.
It just has to equal, come close. So if the Nets are sending him out at 35.5 a season, the team has to send back salary that's equal, whether it's one player, 5 players, whatever. They got to send that equal salary back.
I never heard that before. I could be wrong though.
You talking about a trade, right?
Yeah, with trades, yeah. Because sometimes people send like cash consideration. Sometimes people send picks. You know what I'm saying? Picks don't have a value.
Picks are different. Yeah, picks don't have a value. So outside of picks, it has to be an equal. Because the cash plus salary would equal what the trading for. Picks, I don't know how they value picks.
I don't think so because James Harden contract does not equate to Drummond's, Seth Curry's, and Ben Simmons.
Plus picks.
But picks don't have a value.
We don't know what the value. I don't know how they equate picks into that situation, that scenario. That's what I'm saying.
Even then, James Harden's making that much more money
than
Ben Simmons, Steph Curry, Andre Drummond, and picks. I don't think that's the case. I mean, I could be wrong though, but I've just never heard people talk about it like that. It's just they both have to meet. That's my understanding. They had to meet the soft or hard cap that they were under. So like you can't just like trade LeBron for like, I don't know, like a Caruso, and that number puts you over a certain salary cap. I think, but I could be wrong. But you found out because you're the information guy. So, but in the meantime, man, real quick, man, we talked about Ben Simmons and what he's done off the court. Now we're gonna talk about what the owners are gonna do off the court. Do you guys think this is gonna impact the CBA negotiations on the like pay-for-play rules that, you know, to kind of offset this situation where the players basically sit out the whole season and you pay them their full salary in the next CBA discussions? I know this is forward looking, but do you think that what's happened with Ben Simmons is going to impact that down the road? Go Kurt.
I think it will, man. I think you got to think about this, man. This season, the past 2 seasons, you had the Ben Simmons ordeal. You had James Harden.
Okay.
2 big names that just really dictated what they want to do with it, right? And I know there's a whole argument about player empowerment because NBA teams kind of control your first 6 to 8 years, or however long that first contract is, a rookie contract. They control you for that, right? And then the way it is with re-signing you, they can pay you more money than any other team. So your first 2 contracts, right? They have leverage. So when you become a star, because, let's be real, 90% of the NBA can't do what Harden and Simmons did, right? Tyler Hero ain't gonna. He can't do that. Even Brunson, and we love Brunson. He ain't about to. He can't do what Harden and freaking Simmons did. But I do think that, because it's a star-driven league. If I was an owner, if I had an owner's ear or whatever, if I was working on that side of the house, like you're paying your employees. Hey, you have this gift. We're paying you to do this gift to entertain this audience. I'm paying you to entertain this audience, but you're not playing for whatever reason. So it's definitely going to have an effect on it. I think they got to come out, which is going to suck, because they got to come out with a list of exceptions to the rule, which you can never list every exception. That's really kind of bad. But yeah, something's going to happen with this, man. Ben Simmons took complete advantage of this situation, man. Like, it was, like, specifically last season, or this whole season, not so much the Nets part, but the Philly part.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Kev, you feel the same?
I feel like something's going to happen, but what Kurt touched on at the end is what where I have a hard time figuring out how they're gonna do it, because
Yeah.
how we're gonna do it. At the same time, you want to not penalize players who have a legitimate reason for being out the game. I appreciate not having to work every single day just to get a paycheck. Like, if I want to take this day off but catch up on some work the next day, I can do that. So I have that benefit. I would like for them to have that benefit too. So it's going to be tricky on how they're going to form that restriction on players. But I do think in this scenario, given Ben Simmons trying to sue and all this other stuff, it's going to raise some people's attention. And I think it's going to be hard to not raise their attention with what happened. So knowing these guys are businessmen, they're going to have something they want to do. Something they want to do. But pay for play, you let me know. What you think? How they would form something like that?
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I don't think. You know what? I mean, it's a good question. I don't think that they can do it. I think this is something that just is at the responsibility and at the onus of the owners. Like, you know, you're basically paid, or, you know, have the opportunity to basically make investments. Best guesses, right? Sometimes you have really good investments and they blow up. And James Harden in Houston, it was a good investment for Houston. They went to almost every playoff since he got there. And then there's bad investments when you pay Nicholas Batum a max contract and then he disappears. And we haven't seen.
So you saying Nicholas Batum is WeWork?
Hey, I'm not saying or not saying that. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
We ain't seen him for some years, and then he came back. I think he plays for the Clippers now. But like, when he got that big contract in Charlotte, bro, no one saw him. He was gone. He was MIA. That's a bad investment. I mean, Ben Simmons is the bad investment. You invested in this guy, gave him a max contract, probably because it was a market season for him, and it worked out favorably for him. And his agent, what's the guy's name? Rich Paul is really good at negotiating contracts. And guess what? He got a max contract. Was he worth it? Was he a max contract player? No. But like I referenced back then with Mike Conley. Mike Conley is not a max contract player. However, there was no other point guard on the market, on the free agency market, that was comparable to what he could do at the time. Because he had to sign him to maintain, you know, that level of talent. And at one point, he was the highest value paid, highest contract in the NBA, because I think they just had that salary bump implemented. So it happens, you know.
So you're saying Ben Simmons is Theranos?
Are you saying he's fraudulent? Because I mean, I'm just fraudulent, like, because you know,
he's a max contract, like Kev said, multiple All-Stars who paid it when the light was on him the brightest. We haven't seen him since.
I haven't seen him since.
Maybe he's a bat. Maybe all the light just bothers him a little bit. He likes a little darkness. Again, same to Orlando. No one's down there, so I don't know. I don't think the CBA is probably going to be impacted, and if it is, they'll find a loophole, because that's what players do. That's what people do. They find loopholes.
Yeah.
So
it would be funny if Simmons does go to Orlando with Fultz. That would be.
It'd be great. And guess what? Orlando gets some attention. Because you know why? Because people are gonna be like, "Oh, when is he gonna play?" Like so this is two things are gonna happen. Either people are gonna go down to Orlando and figure out Orlando gonna get all the spotlight, which they haven't gotten since Shaq left, and you know, it'd be good for them. They get some publicity. Some people get some airtime. You get to see Terrence Ross and all those people, and Markelle Fultz may make an appearance. It'd be a great backstory. 2 Philadelphia, you know, number 1 picks or lottery picks. This is where the landing spot is. Kind of like New Orleans Pelicans with ex-LA players. You could do all that. It could be a spectacle, or no one even cares. We just stop talking about you, Ben Simmons, and that way there's no light on you at all, and we'll move on, and you can go ahead and get paid and be, you know, irrelevant in the basketball lexicon, you know, moving forward. And that's what he wants to do. So
it's the quickest fall from grace in a minute.
Andrew Bynum. He went from NBA champion to I don't want to play no more.
Yeah, that's
He like, you know what?
yeah. Okay.
I never liked the basketball thing anyways. I was just
But with it, just to argue for Bonham, I don't think he was a max contract player.
No, he wasn't. But he was a centerpiece.
Right, that was the fall. He was like, he might be the best center in the league. He was in the conversation. He definitely deserved to be in the conversation.
Yep. And he was like, you know what? I'm over it. He like, I'm gonna head out, guys. Getting this go-kart. So the last question, man. I know we're gonna put a pause on Ben Simmons because I'm sure he's gonna show up in the summertime. But let's just ask this question, man. I didn't expect to even see a playoffs without these two characters, but they are not here. So we're gonna ask this question, man. Who had the most disappointing season? LeBron not making the playoffs at all, or KD getting swept? Okay, I know this is your guy. Actually, both of these are probably your guys. So 1.5.
Yeah, I would say LeBron and the Lakers because they had a funny season with injuries and this KD situation and Kyrie situation. We kind of Kyrie's always in the news in some funny ways, and he's been on the game in and out, so it's not like he hasn't shown that just that side of him before. Mm-hmm. But the Lakers, man, what happened? They didn't look anything like a team. It was very haphazard. It was lack of defense. Defense went down, and that's the effort thing. Sometimes, like, why we see you play better defense? Why is that something that's being impacted? And I guess AD, their anchor, wasn't there, but at the same time, I was super disappointed with Lakers to the point where I told you I stopped watching the games. Like I felt like they didn't care, and they were headed downhill, and it's like I felt no momentum. I felt no drive, except for LeBron doing his thing. But even then, it felt like LeBron just gonna put up his numbers. Whatever happens with the team happens with the team. He was getting his scores, getting his assist in there. Well, whatever happens. Remind me of Cleveland days, but for me that was the biggest disappointment. Only because I expected some drama with the Nets. I didn't expect the drama. All the funny stuff with Lakers.
Okay, all right. You believe the same thing, Kurt?
I can see why people think that. The Lakers won the championship just a few seasons ago with two of their stars intact. A lot of noise about. I guess I'm viewing it from my viewpoint. I never believed in this inclination of the Lakers with Westbrook because Westbrook's one of my favorite players. Let me put that out there. I understand how Westbrook plays, and we've seen in history has shown the type of players LeBron needs to win, and Westbrook doesn't fit that mold, right? So for me, it's the Nets, man. Think about it. You came into this year 3 certified Hall of Famers, man. No one can argue that those 3 cats are not going to be in the Hall of Fame, right? You came in with 3 at the beginning of the season. Plus Joe Harris, who can stretch the floor, man, shoot like none other. Bro, who cares who the 5th person is? Bro, they could have put anybody out there, man. They could have put Jeff Van Gundy out there. I still would have been like, yeah, they probably win with Coach Van Gundy. Charles Barkley out there playing, right? So to go from that high to getting swept is incredible, man. At least the Lakers can lean back and say injuries and all this stuff, right? The Nets had time missed because of different situations, man, but it's the Nets, man. Their roster in the beginning, we saw flashes of the last season where, this could be a beautiful thing. And it just went up in smoke, man.
Yep. So I believe the same as you, Kurt Chella. The Lakers had a lot going on. People called him old. People said Westbrook wasn't going to fit, because they both need the ball. Him and LeBron need the ball. AD, he's basically a walking tempered, not even tempered, just a walking piece of glass. He's just, it's just the wind blows him. He's out for 16 weeks. Mm-hmm. the injuries, which is, I mean, even at the beginning of the season, Ariza wasn't there. Wasn't Nate? None.
True.
Wasn't
If
there.
you count on those people to come back and help you take to the championship, that says something.
So, I understand that they won the championship a few years ago, but the same people who came back last year between these two seasons, the season here and the previous season, was only two people, and that was AD and LeBron. Everyone else has been removed. Caruso's not there no more. KCP's not there no more. So, like, you don't really...
After the beginning?
Yeah, so from the previous year to this year, their whole roster got revamped. There's no returning characters or cast members outside of Kuzma. Kuzma's gone. Like, all the people got stripped out. Yeah. Right? So
That's true.
It didn't make sense for
McGee. Look at what McGee's doing in the playoffs. JaVale.
Yeah, JaVale McGee. I forgot about him. Montrezl Harrell. They all left. So they all went. Half of them went to Washington. The other, for Westbrook. The other half went to Chicago. So, like, they didn't have the same lineup as the previous year. There was no returning players except for AD and LeBron. But if you look at the Nets, I mean, this is the second year they've been talking about, oh, it's so great. They're going to be dominant because of James Harden, blah blah blah. Oh, now we got LaMarcus Aldridge. Oh, now we got Blake Griffin. Oh, Caron Butler unretired. Like, Jalen Rose is gonna make an appearance. Like, everyone was coming and jumping on the Brooklyn bandwagon. And I always said that's too much scoring, not enough everything else. And I really questioned their defense. And because Steve Nash is not a defensive player, D'Antoni definitely ain't a defensive player.
He never. Yeah, I forgot D'Antoni was his assistant coach. Yeah.
And so I'm like, so who gonna teach y'all defense? Because y'all need to play defense. And it came into fruition. Obviously, the James Harden thing was unforeseen, or the COVID situation was unforeseen with Kyrie and all that. But we know Kyrie is a different kind of cat. He does a sage and all that stuff. Like, he just operates on a different frequency. But nonetheless, they said that this is the team to beat. We even said it at the beginning, the most exciting matchup in first round, because it was Boston Celtics versus who we predicted to be a powerhouse in Brooklyn, and they got swept. That is beyond disappointing. Like, you can win one game. Like,
you couldn't get into the playoffs. You couldn't get number 10.
Guess what?
You couldn't even play in the play-in. You couldn't even become the 10th seed.
Guess what? And we can always fall back on injury. We can always fall back on, like, again, the critics were always there. What criticism did we hear from the Brooklyn Nets in the beginning of the season?
Kyrie not being there.
Kyrie.
In the beginning of the season?
That was the most, is Kyrie's not going to be there. They're not making it to the playoff. But guess what? Kyrie was going to play at least half the game because the away games counted. He was going to show up for the away game.
No, he wasn't. Not in the beginning, no.
You talking about preseason?
Well, okay, yeah, you're right.
I don't think we knew about, because the vaccination thing was still ramping up. I don't think we knew that he wasn't going to get vaccinated.
It was ramping up, but he didn't play a single game in the beginning. As it was coming up to the season.
Yes. So to be fair,
but Wiggins didn't either, and Wiggins got vaccinated late. I don't think people really thought that Kyrie was not going to get vaccinated, and I don't think they really thought that how things unfolded, because he was in New York, all that stuff.
Yeah. But fair, they did mention. That was a concern, was Kyrie's availability. I can't agree with you on that.
Overall, yeah.
But even with them saying Kyrie's not going to be there, they were still saying James Harden and Kevin Durant is going to be enough to get you deep into the playoffs. So
if James Harden was present, but he wasn't.
But he played half the season. That's fine.
I know, but present, like, he was frustrated about the situation, so that all trickled into it as well.
I understand that.
I'm just saying things started to fall apart the same way things fall apart in Naperville. It was like, Kyrie did this thing, and it had a ripple effect. There was injuries in there, and it had a ripple effect.
Okay, all right.
Man, I just seen one team was able to go from being number 10 and getting themselves to the number 7 seed and making it to the first round, and another team was in it and just kept getting themselves out of it. Like Lakers was in it. Nets were always on the bottom most of the season. They were like 10, 12.
They were number.
More-
They were
Oh,
number,
no.
They were leading the
number-
Eastern. Yeah.
for,
they were
for a portion, but then Cavs took over, and other teams start taking over. They got pushed down real quick. I don't know how to check standings periodic over time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could see that, but I remember them being down low. I remember Cavs being at the top. I remember Philly playing pretty well, but not even being up there too high. But you know, and they were fading fast, fading quick. Even though KD was playing, somehow, some way, the man was able to. KD came back from an injury, and was like, boom, 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 let's do this. And they went on that run, and they did what they had to do.
And they got to 7th and got swept. Gotcha.
And
Cool.
they got swept. I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that they made it, man. The fact that LeBron didn't make it is still disappointing to me because he's been in more playoffs than not. So,
Yeah.
Alright, that's cool. Alright, well, we got 1 LeBron and 2 KDs. So we'll leave it at that. So you guys tell us who you guys think is had a more disappointing season between KD and LeBron. But yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this up, man, and sign off. Kurt, you got something like a factoid or no?
Oh yeah. This is more just a fact, not a question. This is an interesting stat, right? Because I think in the pre-pod I was talking about how KD's catching a lot of heat, a lot of flack. I know we said the coach. KD's catching a lot of flack for the Nets' lackluster performance, right? My question was, where's Kyrie? And I looked at the stats with Cleveland, with LeBron, who was averaging 25, 26 points a game in the playoffs. Now he's averaging barely 20, 21 points, right? So it got me thinking, the best playoff Kyrie was with LeBron, right? That, I don't think we fully understand the distance, the delta, the gap between Kyrie with LeBron and Kyrie without LeBron, right? Kyrie with LeBron is 39-13 in the playoffs. Kyrie, no LeBron. Keep in mind, this is with Tatum and Brown. This is with KD, right? 11-11.
Does it include Boston?
yeah.
That
Yeah, it
includes
includes,
Boston, 11-11.
Yeah.
Well,
At least 50%.
of course. Thank you, Kev. Kev always out here like, but did he play though? Did he make up his mind?
He's been on my blacklist ever since he left Cleveland with the LeBron situation, man.
That was weird. Yeah. That was Kyrie.
That was Kyrie. Yeah, that definitely was Kyrie. So
Yeah.
cool, but well,
There you go.
Well, he has next year to fix it or break it. So, Kev, you got it.
That's pretty much what I had to share. Like, he has next year to do something. He's up here in the podium talking about this is gonna be fuel. So my sign off is like, man, you gotta go through what you go through, and hopefully everyone grows from this. Like everyone. Like I want to see LeBron back where he was supposed to be, back to his rightful position. And Kyrie, man, you a vet now. Like, let's do something. Let's make it work. KD, work on your dribbling. Yes, work on your dribbling. His dribbling got exposed. He's doing this high and far away from the body dribbles, and keep taking that same high and far away dribble into double teams, which is why he got so many. How many of his balls just kept getting tap? And I was like, dude, why you keep doing it? Because he's too tall. You can't really be down low like doing that through your leg nonsense. But it is what it is, man.
He is.
Kev, you think he's been doing that for his whole career? I think it's how they use him. KD, think about it. Even in Oklahoma,
It
KD
is.
has been a playmaker. He's never been a playmaker. He's been a shooter. He's the reason why you have playmakers. You got to get it to the shooter. That's the whole point.
You're right.
Go to
And he's
State,
proven that.
post office, shooter. And now I think it's only exposed because they got him in a role that he's not suited for.
Yes.
I agree, but the role of him being in the ISO is not uncommon though. And for him, and at one point I heard him call him the ISO killer. Like, you know, like he's that guy supposed to be able to break down ISO defense. But they stepped up and
ISO,
stopped
but not
him.
team.
Yeah,
ISO,
exactly.
not team.
And where was the adjustment? Like we talked about LeBron. I don't want to go into a whole nother discussion, but we talked about how LeBron is a playmaker. And even other players who aren't necessarily playmakers by nature, just because they garner so much attention, they become playmakers. He couldn't do that. He averaged more turnovers than he did assists. But anyway, let's just say, yo, everyone, let's do a little better next year. But I love the fact that we have new blood and new contenders, and some of the folks who we expected aren't here. It's still fresh, it's still exciting, so I'm happy with where we are. And we here, man, for all your playoff news and hot takes. We here, so tune in every Tuesday. We here, and follow us on Twitter. We posting a little bit more now, so we out there.
Cool. Appreciate that.
Yeah, follow us, man. We here. We not Ben Simmons and you guys, man. We here.
Nah. For real.
We Luka. We Embiid. We Scotty Barnes. We here.
Scotty Barnes. That's a new guy, huh?
Hey, man, he showed up, right?
Oh, that's hilarious. So yeah, man, thanks for everyone for listening to us again this evening or day or night, whenever you're rocking with us, whatever time you tuning in and chiming in with us. And yeah, don't forget to check us on the social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, Discord, all that. Give us 5 stars, hit us a like, tell a friend to tell a friend, do all that. Hey man, and shout out to Ja Morant, most improved player. He got the award and he gave it to his friend Desmond Bay. What a great
How
leader.
is he the most improved player though, man? We gotta talk about that next episode.
Yeah, we gotta talk about next time because
I'm with Draymond on that, man. Ja is amazing, but Jordan Poole was in the G League last season, bro. Like,
are we really doing this? Are you really doing this?
You smiling, but you know facts. You know facts, though.
I do know
smiling,
facts.
But you know facts.
I do know facts.
Those are facts.
Ja was.
But anyway,
I know this. Jordan Poole was in the G League last season. Ja Morant was in the NBA last season, the entire season. I know that.
That's just one piece of data.
It's more. There's more. Though.
There is more, but
that's the topic for
maybe.
Next
Yeah,
episode. Let's do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do that.
The awards. The award review. That we got to put that in there.
All right, Kanye coming on the stage. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to say shout out to someone. I don't mean to take your time, but Beyonce had the best video of all time. That's what you just did to me right now.
I mean, but she did though. I mean, she had a good video.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, shout out to Ja Morant before I got rudely interrupted by these Golden State, fanboys, and for most improved player, and giving it to his guy Desmond Bay. That's what really the.
Should have gave it to Jordan Poole, the rightful heir to that award.
Desmond Bain is doing some things right now though, so
yeah.
Yeah,
But on that note, man, we're here every Tuesday. Check us out every Tuesday, and until next Tuesday, guys, peace.